Hello friends! I was planning on recording an entirely different sponsored video today, but at the last minute that sponsor postponed because of COVID-19, and I've had several sponsors be postponed because of this and a bunch of events. But we're not gonna get too caught up in that. We're just gonna pull up a random email and see what I can react to today, because that's something that I can make and put out for all of you to watch, and we can enjoy and have fun and forget about how the world is falling to pieces. Anyways, let me just read this email because normally I just kind of watch links that people show me, but this one kind of explains some context, so I wanted to share it before I react to this video. Hey Lore, I found this documentary about Lolita from 2009 depicting 3 different Western Lolitas, and I thought it'd be a great way to showcase the differences between the community and the aesthetics of back then and now. Full disclosure, I actually found it through this video from another YouTuber. She doesn't do a lot of Lolita content, but I thought it was worth mentioning. So this YouTuber called The Stitches made a react video called reacting to a 10-year-old Lolita fashion documentary. I did not watch it ahead of time because I wanted to go into it without seeing anything, and I didn't want anything to be spoiled. I wanted to have my own genuine reactions. But when I'm editing, I'm going to actually watch their video as well and a little bit of their channel so that I can talk about it too, because I want to also give credit to them. It opens with this page that reads, Lolita fashion is a subculture in Japan that is primarily influenced by Victorian clothing as well as costumes from the Rococo period. Lolita has made this into a unique fashion by adding gothic and original design elements to the look. That is correct. Sounds pretty much correct. They sourced wikipedia.com. I don't know if Wikipedia has ever been wikipedia.com. It's wikipedia.org. Just a tiny nitpick there. They didn't say what article. It's weird, you know? Wikipedia is a huge resource. It's similar to like citing just Google at the start of a film. It's not really specific to Lolita fashion. With this type of title card, generally in films or documentaries, would have a significant quote from someone involved or a relevant meaning to the subject of the film, but this sort of feels like a bibliography at the beginning of it. I am going way too critical on this already. I need to slow down. Calm down. What is this print? This kind of looks like a tablecloth. Meta? There's a bunch of cats and Paris things and a wine bottle and patio furniture. This is interesting fabric. And this graphic. Oh, loli girls. The story behind the frills and bow. Oh, okay, we all know loli girls is not a term that we use anymore. It was used more frequently in the early 2000s because people would just shorten the word Lolita to Loli because they thought it was cute. I did it, everyone did it at that time, and we didn't all realize, I think, the implications that had with anime and like hentai. So we don't use that term anymore. Nope, done. But I understand why in 2009 they would title it that. This graphic is giving me, I don't want to say it. This graphic is giving me like, you know what, I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna play some music and see if it changes the way that you see this graphic. Graphic design is not my passion though. I couldn't do any better. Like, especially in 2009, this is already good quality, I can tell, but just the graphic now. Doesn't it kind of read that way?
Very interesting. I thought they worked for an ice cream place, the one girl that walked by with the ice cream.
They interviewed a rando and he said this girl works at an ice cream place. And I'm curious if she did work at an ice cream place or if that's just an excuse that she gave because she didn't feel like explaining what the fashion was. That was not a read. We used to honestly do that all the time in the early 2000s. At least my comm did. I know that there were some girls who would say that they worked at a cupcake place just to get away from people who were harassing them or wouldn't leave them alone. I swear I'm gonna stop interrupting myself and just get on with this video. Oh my goodness, wait, is that Victoria? I think that's Victoria Suzanne. I just love that in 2009, the haircuts were so specific, like they kind of had a little bit of scene influence, and a lot of Lolitas wore their hair with Lolita. I think also because at the time wigs were way less accessible, like way harder to get. A lot of people wore their natural hair with Lolita, which is there's nothing wrong with that. I didn't put my hair out today because I haven't seen my hairstylist in over a month because of quarantine and also because I was away. So my roots are crazy and I haven't gotten around to dyeing my own hair yet, so wigs are a good alternative when you don't want to style your hair. But it's just cool to see sort of the styles of the time reflected in people's hair but mixed with Lolita.
Well, the origins, it started in the 80s in Japan. It was based off Visual Kei music, well, the artists. But as far as inspirations go, it takes its roots from the Victorian era and the Rococo period of France.
Lolita is one of my favorite books.
Me too.
I thought it was very beautiful and very interesting, but it is completely unrelated to the fashion.
I'm glad that they explained that the book is different, but that's the first time I've ever seen two Lolitas say that they liked the book, that they enjoyed the book. Huh.
Frustrates me that people associate them together. They have the same name, and granted, there is a lot to be said of that. Usually that does mean that things are related. In this case, they're not.
Oh, this shot is so blown out. Oh man, I remember nobody had the kind of cameras that we have today. Like, DSLRs were way more expensive, way harder to get a hold of in 2009. Like, I filmed my early videos on an iPhone. Like, so I just remember you would get these beautiful, sweet prints, and then you'd try to take a photo with these crappy digital cameras at the time or your cell phone, and they would just be white. Like, just pure white. No detail at all. There was just no way to adjust the exposure. Like, just, ugh, the struggle.
The American Lolita is very bound by rules, whereas in Japan it's sort of something to experiment with.
She looks so familiar. So familiar. Is this? When I was reacting to this, I could have sworn I've met this person before, and I go on a tangent trying to figure out who she is. She just sounds and looks very familiar to me, but her name is Julia, and I don't believe I've actually met her after talking to Victoria, but I'm gonna cut all of that out because all of the people that I guess who she is wrong, so there's no point to it. But I do kind of mention throughout the video that I'm trying to figure out who she is, so even though I'm cutting it out, I wanted to mention this because I do continue to be confused. I think maybe I may have seen her online at the time, or maybe I saw another video or another post way back then, and that's maybe why she looks familiar to me, or maybe she looks like someone I know. I don't know, but I was perplexed by it.
Japanese Lolitas have it easy. They have all their fashion right there. You can just go in and get it, and you don't have to worry about mixing genres. If you want to wear this and this together,
what print is that? We'll never know.
People aren't going to be upset. They don't label like we do. But the reason we label is we're trying to keep the style pure instead of mutating into something, and they're not worried about that, which is very free.
That's an interesting point, and is that in Western society, a lot of Lolitas, that's where a lot of like elitism and gatekeeping is that they're trying to specifically define the fashion, whereas in Japan it's more normalized, it's more accessible, so they don't really have concerns with that. Since 2009, we have definitely improved upon that. It's still not, there are still elements of that now in the community for sure, but I think compared to the rules that we gave ourselves in 2009, they're a lot more lenient, so I have hope for the future that there will be more experimentation and more developments in Lolita. That statement is still very relevant to this day. It's wild to see Lolitas out in a park with no shoes on. I have never before seen Lolitas hanging out in a park with no shoes on. And also, they're on a boat. I'm so nervous. What if that boat capsizes? Think of your brand, especially Pieces in 2009. Everything ran. Oh geez, this makes me nervous.
I was actually in history class looking about kamikaze pilots because I wanted to know if any girls had ever been kamikaze pilots. And no, they have not ever been any girls who are kamikaze pilots, but I discovered kamikaze girls.
That's wild. She was searching about actual kamikaze fighters and then discovered kamikaze girls because of that. How? What school had this? I also love this like cowboy Hello Kitty in here.
From there, which was the very small page on What is Lolita, I was desperate for more.
None of them are wearing shoes. I'm so uncomfortable. Why aren't you wearing shoes? Why? I enjoy that they are showing Lolitas in this very like Marie Antoinette summer home lifestyle. They're like out in the woods and they've got these tight shots on them of just doing very countryside calming things and not out in the real world. Like, that's kind of interesting. It kind of encapsulates this lifestyle.
Attended an anime convention since I was 12 years old. A lot of my friends were cosplayers. There would be Lolita girls, like girls who actually were Lolita, and then there would be Lolita
Oh my gosh, what convention is this? This is so cool. Seeing old conventions. I love seeing old convention videos.
And there would be Lolita cosplayers. And so I was very confused as to why these two groups who looked so different to me had the same name. So I looked into it, and that's sort of how I learned more about Lolita.
You have a certain sense of aesthetics that you project onto the world around you. So when you are looking outwards, beyond yourself, you are sort of like looking for the page in the book in which you are supposed to be illustrated.
All of their discussions and statements about why they were Lolita, what Lolita is all very informative, very accurate, and I don't know how to commentate because it's just like, yes, correct, yes, you stated that very well, better than I could have. This is more just me reacting and being nostalgic to 2009. Oh, that laptop is so old!
We have this deep sense that needs beautiful things to be happy. It's almost like how seasonal affective disorder needs sunlight, because if you don't have these things, you become depressed. And that's very important that we have these things. It's honestly an addiction.
I think that everything that she said up until that point was a really good point, until she said, like, it's an addiction. Like, I get saying that, but I feel like it lessens the value of everything she said before that. I think it's really interesting to compare Lolita to seasonal depression. That is a very, I think, accurate statement. You know, especially for me personally, when I have long periods of time where I don't dress up, I don't go to events, I'm just, you know, not being cute, I miss it, and I'll see it. At least I've incorporated it into a way that's part of our room. So there's my closet, which is like an external closet, so it's hanging up there, so at least I get to look at it and make it part of my daily life, even if I'm not wearing it. And I do notice that if I go a long time without wearing it and then I do, I feel a lot better. So those of you, we're all quarantined right now. I know it sucks, but maybe try dressing up. I know it sounds like it might not make a difference, but just dress up and take a mirror photo. Set up a self-timer. It will make you feel cute again. It will give you some bit of happiness and brighten your day, I promise. I remember back in the day scouring antique stores to try to find things that you could mix with Lolita. That is very nostalgic as well. I feel like I don't do that as much anymore because there's so many other options between like Taobao resellers and like different artists and different people's brands too. There's so many things that you can incorporate into Lolita now that you don't have to physically go out to antique stores and like look. It's still fun though. I imagine especially for classic Lolitas, it's a great place to explore, and even if you don't get pieces, it's a good way to open up your mind and have more ideas for outfits.
It has a lot of rules. There's even a Lolita handbook on the internet outlining what you should wear and how. Of course you can change the rules and bend them. You don't have to follow them at all. I mean, it's what you wear, but
yes, I knew the EGL live journal would make an appearance. Oh goodness, yes. Oh man, I should make a video all around the handbook and see if I agree with it or if I don't agree with it and what things I would change. And yeah, I need to do that.
Shoes, 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 shoes. Shoes.
Yeah, you have to wear shoes with Lolita. Gosh, Royal Poodle is so cute. I feel like we've all slept on that print in later years. It's so vibrant and so cute. I think that you can find Angelic Pretty's Royal Poodle secondhand on places like Lace Market for pretty cheap.
So this is also by Angelic Pretty. You can see that these two have a lot in common. The fact that they both have deeply detailed prints, and they both share this lace, which they make special for every dress that they put together. You can see that it has tiny carousel ponies and AP for Angelic Pretty. And this is probably one of the most expensive dresses I owned.
Sugary Carnival at that time went for like $700 to $800 because it was a lot harder to access. There was no Angelic Pretty store outside of Japan. I think that the San Francisco store opened in 2010, and there were less shopping services, there was less of a secondhand market. Everything was just much smaller scale, so it was a lot harder to get, and it was very popular, extremely popular, probably still one of the most popular Angelic Pretty prints to date, in my opinion. This fashion show is so cute. Oh, that aristocrat outfit is really interesting. I haven't seen a skirt like that in quite some time. I love seeing all of these different substyles of Lolita fashion because I feel like in fashion shows now we generally just see one brand, which is also cool to see, but I love these community thrown fashion shows that debut different specific substyles, and I just want to keep more substyles alive and experiment with more. Oh no! No. Alright, this is messy. So, Codona was like a style, it was basically a style from OG, which is like the Prince form of Lolita, the more masculine side. And Codona was used by a specific artist who wore it, and a lot of people at this time adapted the term because they wanted to differentiate between more aristocratic OG, which was like more over-the-top, classic, long pants, and they wanted to differentiate that between something that was more like dandy style, kind of the short puffy bloomers, and more of a like Black Butler style of outfits. But this look is neither of these things. This is real rough, but you know, at the time, things were hard to get. They weren't as accessible. I don't even, like, this is like a Lolita blouse with a newsboy hat and like a tie. And what are these pants? These pants, oh no, they're like capri pants. They're not even like OG pants. What? It's not remotely OG, Codona, aristocrat, Lolita, anything. It's just a Lolita blouse. I'm glad that there was representation in this fashion show to show people that there is a more masculine side to Lolita, so that you don't have to always wear a dress if you don't want to. Hopefully this led people to do research and find out more, and of course we've got to let this pass because it was 2009. We didn't know what we were doing in 2009. This classic is perfect. This looks like a classic cord now. I don't know if that's a statement on what little I know about classic or if this is just a timeless coordinate. I think that all of the information in this documentary still holds up. I think that it's very timeless and it's accurate. It's really accurate and really genuine. It doesn't seem like it was swayed in any perspective. I think that the person who made it was probably a Lolita themselves, or was really close with the subjects that they're interviewing, maybe they're friends. I feel like Victoria does not get as much credit as she should. She has been like so strong in the Lolita community for so long. She wears a lot more just like Liz Lisa style clothes now, but she still does participate in Lolita, and she has run multiple blogs and like communities and web pages and stuff, and just has given out so much information about Lolita over the years. I'm very grateful to her and all of her work. It really is inspiring to me. The only thing I think that's weird about this documentary is just like how dated it was, because it was 11 years ago. It's interesting to see how many things have changed because of the accessibility of the internet, because of just general mainstream styles, how they've changed. But all in all, I think it's a really great doc, and it was really fun, and it made me feel really nostalgic. If there is a documentary or a video, anything that is Lolita or at least similar to Lolita or J Fashion that you would like me to watch and react to, please send it to me at lovelyloreTopics@gmail.com. And as always, stay lovely! I watched the Stitchess video of reacting to this documentary, and she gave very different commentary. I was quite surprised. She talks about more specific indie brands at the time and comes at it from the perspective of someone who sews and makes Lolita. If you want to keep this nostalgia trip going, I recommend checking out her video as well. The Stitches channel does feature Lolita as well as other J fashion and general cute styles. She talks about sustainability, creates DIYs, lookbooks, and discusses other topics around fashion and kawaii lifestyle. I'm thankful this email brought her channel to my attention, and I'm excited to have more cute stuff to watch.